The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 23. I'm just going to try to keep going with this. I don't feel a strong connection to this story about Saul Paul. I apologize if I'm not reading it some kind of way. I don't feel it's like it's hard for me to read as Job was. I feel like this book was written by a completely... It was written by Job, I guess, a completely different person, but it's just... Obviously, so I'm just trying to get the main points out. So this guy, Paul Saul, and I still, they're saying, he says he's a Roman, he says he was born that he is a Jew, he's beating up all the people, and I said, Lord, they know that I'm in prison and beat, that I imprisoned and beat in every synagogue them that believed on thee, talking about the Lord Christ. He appeared to him. The light was so bright and made him blind. Okay. But what I don't understand, is this, why are they calling him Paul Saul? Was this original? Anyway, I don't just even want to get into it. But there's 5 more chapters. I just want to get through this. And Paul, chapter 23, and Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this day. Oh. I guess when he was beating and imprisoning people, it was okay as a Jew. But I see, anyway, I just have let's just go. This is the other issue. And the high priest, Ananias, right? Now, why are they throwing this name in again? This is all we need. This is all, right? Because we just heard this story about Ananias and Priscilla, who basically lied because they withheld some of their goods instead of selling them because they're very rich. And then the husband died on the spot, and then she died on the spot a few minutes later or something. So here's this name again. What high priest? I'm assuming it's a Jew. Yeah, it is. And the high priest, so there's been 2 bad Ananiases here in Acts. Okay. And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. So he probably knocked his teeth out. Then said Paul unto him, God shall smite thee, thou whited wall. For sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law? And they that stood by said, Revilest thou God's high priest? Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was the high priest. That's a good answer. For it is written, Thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. That's a good one. Wow, we should obey that one here, huh? Yeah. YouTube and all those things, they do it. They allow that. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about all these people threatening the president. I would never do that. That is totally against the law. Did I tell that story? I'm sure I did, right? Did I work in Stockton? And there's somebody there. They have exquisite notes from I swear, I think it was I know it was the 60s, but it may have been the 50s. Did they even go back to the 40s? They were handwritten psychiatric notes. They were exquisite, right? Anyway, this guy, I got his notes because he was still he was doing well on long-term antipsychotics and, a shot, long-term injection. And in his notes, I forget which president he threatened, but like he wrote a bad note to one of the presidents, or he was writing. It wasn't he said it like people are doing nowadays, but there is no difference, I'm pretty sure. Like I would not even err on the side of caution about this, but people that have ever done that, you're watched forever. Like there's a thing in this thing that says, I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people, right? We are so convinced, right, that it's part of our freedom, part of our rights, part of our rights. But to be honest, it's really not a God-given right. Look, I don't know where it says this, but he's saying that thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. Like, we need to find out what that's talking about in the Old Testament. That's important. But to this day, just because people threaten him online or in person, or that it is against the law. And this is a good thing to remember it, right? But when Paul perceived that one part were and why do I always say Sadducees? And people, this is spelled Sadducees. Am I just like, I've been hearing it wrong? But I have seen it many times and I say it differently because everybody else says it like that. But it says Sadducees. And I even spell it like that. I don't know why. Maybe I should stop. And the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Oh, here we go. Look at this guy. Okay. I just pointed out, right, that what was going on. He says he's born a Jew. Then he says he's a Roman. Now he says he is a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Of the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am called in question. Okay, there's a few things going on with this guy. I need to write that down. Is the pen not working again? So Paul he's a self-described Jew, he's a self-described Roman, and now he's a self-described Pharisee. Right? This is what I'm talking about. And I still haven't gotten past chapter 15 in here, which was what people were doing with the doctrine of Christ, right? I have to watch my show. Let's go. And when he had so said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. And there arose a great cry, and the scribes that were of the Pharisees' part arose and strove, saying, we find no evil in this man. So the Pharisees are sticking up for him. Okay, I don't even know right now. I'm just going to read it. But if a spirit or an angel hath spoken to him, let us not fight against God. And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down and to take him by force from among them and to bring him into the castle. And the night following, the Lord stood by him and said, be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome. And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. Oh, here we go, brokering it out again. Back to murder brokerage. You know, I'm not making fun when I say these things at all. I'm not making a joke. That's what they're doing. And they were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy. And they came to the chief priests and elders and said, we have bound ourselves under a great curse, that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul. Oh, they're going to do it. No, they're back to do it themselves. They're in a hunger strike for murder. Oh my gosh. There's no more space to write things down. Now, therefore ye with the council signify to the chief captain that he bring him down unto you tomorrow, as though ye would inquire something more perfectly concerning him, and we, or ever he come near, are ready to kill him. Goodness. And when Paul's sister's son heard of their lying in wait, that's their favorite thing to do since Jesus came around. It really is. You hear it over and over and over. He went and entered into the castle and told Paul. Then Paul called one of the centurions unto him and said, bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he hath a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul the prisoner called me unto him and prayed me to bring this young man unto thee, who hath something to say unto thee. Then the chief captain took him by the hand and went with him aside privately and asked him, what is it that thou hast to tell me? And he said, the Jews have agreed to desire thee that thou wouldest bring down Paul tomorrow into the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more perfectly. They want to ask something better. But do not thou yield unto them, for they lie in wait for him. They're ready. They're just waiting to put their hands on him. They're ready to kill him themselves. Of them, more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath. There you go. There's that word you're not supposed to do. Look, oh God, this is horrid. That they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now are they ready, looking for a promise from thee. So the chief captain then let the young man depart and charged him, see thou tell no man that thou hast shewed these things to me. So this chief captain sounds okay. He's fearful, perhaps. And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers, all right, to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, 70, and spearmen 200, at the 3rd hour of the night. And provide them beasts, that they may set Paul on, and bring him safe unto Felix the governor. So these are people that are going to help. They don't say what his name is, but he's a good guy. And he wrote a letter after this manner. Claudius Lysias, unto the most excellent governor, Felix sendeth greeting. I guess his name is Felix. This man was taken of the Jews, and should have been killed of them. Then came I with an army, and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. See what I mean? This is like Simon, Peter the tanner, and Peter was trying to get away. They were trying to stone him and all that. With this guy, you know, he identifies as Jew, Roman, and Pharisee. So this whole battalion's coming in for him, telling him to get him at 3 o'clock in the morning and to help him escape. Oh, my show's on. Okay. And when I would have known the cause wherefore they accused him, I brought him forth into their council, whom I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds. This made up crap. Lies. Complete lies. You know what it says. This is very severe. This is breaking isn't it a commandment? You shall not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That is extremely serious. But not to them. And this is this leads to murder. Murder it already implies this. So this is an extreme problem, bearing false witness. And they keep doing it over and because they have nothing to say. Like about Jesus. Like at least make a case, right? But they're so full of rage. They've created an oath which is also against the law, and they just want to rip them apart. And when it was told me how that the Jews laid wait for the man, I went straightway to thee and gave commandment to his accusers also to say before thee what they had against him. Farewell. Then the soldiers, as it was commanded them, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. On the morrow they left the horsemen to go with him and returned to the castle, who, when they came to Caesarea and delivered the epistle to the governor, presented Paul also before him. And when the governor had read the letter, he asked of what province he was. And when he understood that he was of Cilicia, is this even true? I thought he was like Paul of Tarsus, right? Okay, let's just get this over with. I will hear thee say, said he, when thine accusers are also come. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's judgment hall. Don't tell me he's still alive. Is he still alive? I thought maybe some guy named Felix was in his place. No, he's not the king though. Is Herod still the king? Or is he just named after him still? Okay, so he's not giving him pure protection. He's saying, well, I'll listen to you when your accusers, show up. So he's waiting for these guys, these killers to come. These bearing false witness. He's waiting for them. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's judgment hall. I don't know. It sounds kind of like a jail to me, right? Like one step above a jail. Perhaps. Okay.